So after the body dies, family, after you do experience death, which is in the process, the body still goes through a process of leaving the earth. Okay? When you pass away, family, you don't leave the earth immediately. Nobody does. Unless you have like a fifth dimensional body where you can just go to another dimension. But for the most part, 99% of the people on this planet, when they die, they linger around the earth for a couple days. Okay, they may disappear and then reappear somewhere else, and disappear and reappear somewhere else. That's usually what happens, right? Now, some people with a low consciousness, they just remember waking up in the other side. And they don't remember walking the earth for like a couple days after they pass away. That's actually what happens to a lot of people. So this is why when people die, they'll actually go to their funeral. That's right. There'll actually be people who will actually try to grab their relatives and grab their family members at funerals because they don't understand fully what's going on. Right? They got in a car accident and they died like that, and their spirit was knocked out of their body. They died so fast. A lot of times people who pass away like that, they don't even know they died. So somebody walked up behind them and shot them in the head. They don't even know they died. So they're confused a lot of times. So they'll be trying to grab I've seen this stuff. They'll be at funeral homes, even at hospitals. I used to work in a hospital, and I've seen people die on the table, and they'll be trying to console their mother, or grab their wife. They'll be trying to do this stuff, and it don't work. And then they'll disappear. I'll see them do something, and then they'll fade away. Right? And then sometimes they don't understand that they're putting more pressure and sadness on the family because they're trying to linger around. And sometimes the family members can feel them. Like, I can feel you, Dad. I can feel you, Grandpa. Grandma, I can feel you around me. Right? And these people don't know, because most of our people haven't really practiced spirituality like that. They don't know that they should go on. You're hurting your family by lingering around, making them feel like you're still around them. You need to go on, and let this death process continue. So a lot of times they'll see the light, just like in the movie Ghost, and they'll just walk away from it. Once again, they regret, right? They didn't leave anything behind. They'll see their family suffering, struggling with money, trying to pay for the funeral. They don't have nothing. So they hate that, and they be trying to console their family. Well, it's too late now, right? It's too late. And family, this is why rites and rituals should be done over the body, or even after the body's gone, but really before the body. Some people do it after, but before the body is gone, the rites and rituals should be done if you're going to bury the body. Now, here we're going to bury and cremation. I don't recommend people being buried. Okay? At one time, I wanted to be buried because I didn't want my body to be burned up. But once I understood the science of it, plus I'm gone already, right? Once I understood the science of it, it's actually better to be cremated, family. Okay? It's better to be cremated. And I'm going to go into it. I'm going to tell you why. If you don't do the correct death rites over a body when they're buried, the body can slowly decay, and the person will literally walk around in a spirit world, the astral plane, for hundreds of years before they become conscious. That's right. They can walk around for hundreds of years, 100 to a few hundred years, depending on how fast their body decays, and they can become, conscious. And they won't be conscious, right? They'll be walking around the astral plane like zombies. I see it all the time to this day. There's people just walking around just like they don't know where they are. They walking in a daze. That's because their body's not fully gone. Their body's not fully decayed. So sometimes they can come back to earth, back and forth to earth. And that's not good. You don't want ghosts walking around, right? You don't want that. So this is why cremation is buried, because it will allow that spirit to go directly to where it needs to go in the astral plane, and it can stay there, right? It can stay there, family. And also it allows the person to wake up faster when they pass away. Okay? So the person will actually wake up consciously and know they're in the astral plane when the body's cremated. And it gets rid of all the energies left over in the body after death. Sometimes that happens. There's a lot of negative energies that's left over in the physical body after a person dies, right? So you're burning all that stuff up when you cremate it. I recommend people being cremated over buried. It's just the best thing to do, family. And I know that we live in a world where the majority of our ancestors have been buried for the most part. But trust me, family, when you pass away, you should have it in your will or something that you want to be cremated, right? Now, if your family is being buried, I recommend that you definitely set them up on the ancestor altar. and start giving them energy and light and giving them food and water and stuff like that, because they're going to need something. The more energy they receive, the more they can wake up faster and they can know where they are. And I'm telling y'all, that's almost everybody that passed away that is not spiritual. They literally be walking around in a daze in the astral plane. They just will be walking around and they can be taken advantage of. So help your family. Out of all the cultures in the world, African Americans, even Africans honor their ancestors in Africa. Native Americans honor their ancestors, but black people in America are afraid to deal with anything like that. We believe in Jesus is going to take care of it. Jesus is going to take care of it, or Allah going to take care of it. We need to honor our ancestors. We need to do the thing that we used to do in the past. We need to feed our ancestors to help them on the other side. They need it. So burn you some ancestor money. Make some food for them. Light a white candle, talk to them, and help them wake up so they can know. And also, the more energy they receive, the younger they'll look. So say they die with an injury to like their head or something, right? Well, the wound would actually heal. Their astral body will actually heal the wound, and they won't look like that no more. They'll actually start to look younger. Okay, so feed your family. Even if they were cremated, you can still do the ancestral, you don't have to put the urn up there. You don't have to put the urn up there, family. You can actually just, put their picture up there because their body's in the astral plane. So you can do the same thing. I do get that question sometimes. People wonder if their family is cremated, can they still, I won't recommend putting the urn up there, but I do recommend, you can if you want to, but that person, that could be, yeah. I don't recommend putting the urn up there. I do recommend just putting their picture up there. You keep the urn somewhere else. Don't put it on the ancestor altar though. Keep the urn somewhere else. I recommend you focusing on their spirit, right? Not the ashes of their body, but their spirit, and feeding them ancestor money, food, water, everything they need, whatever they like. That's what I recommend, family. So, if you bury a person, you must do the correct rites and death rites and rituals to prepare that body. So, and the reason why those things happen, so the body can actually be safe. Believe it or not, even after death, there's spirits and energies that come and suck up energy from the body. That's a right. That's a fact. So you have to protect that body so it can be protected even after death, because if it's just rotting away in the ground, they're walking around the astral plane and demons and everything can take advantage of these people. That's a fact. So they're being buried in Jesus' name and they're not protected. Your family. But if you put them on an ancestor altar and start feeding them energy and you ask the deities to protect them, like Baron Samedi or something like that, Anubis and stuff like that, they will protect those people and they will help those people. Okay? So I want to be very clear on that. If they're buried, they're not protected spiritually. And so that's why they need to be on an ancestor altar, because they can literally be, and they can be hurt. I told y'all about a family member of mine in one of my videos who, when I saw them there in the lower hell state, and an entity came out of the ground. You guys can go back and watch this video. I remember, I did so many videos. I remember which video I talked about it in. But in the video, I talked about how a relative of mine was in a lower hell state. I went to go help them out and get them out of there. And I saw an entity come out of the ground with a Santa Claus sled. He had a sled, and in the sled was body parts. And also like people, like looking in the cage. And they was like, get me out, help me, saying all kind of crazy stuff like that. And the entity looked at me and I grabbed my family member and I just said, this one's mine. And the entity just kept going. And it was like some kind of zombie looking entities like pulling the sled. It was the most creepiest, weirdest thing ever. Right? So I was able to help my family member get out of that because they had a low consciousness. Not because they was a bad person. Their consciousness was low. And sometimes when you have a low consciousness, that's what happens, right? So, yes, family, when you bury your family, they can be, they're walking around in a daze. They can be taken advantage of. They're not awake yet, right? But when you're, and so put them on the ancestor altar, right? But when they're cremated, they can wake up immediately. And they can know where they are. They can protect themselves a lot better. But they still need to go on the ancestor altar. All right? So I just wanted to go in here and say that to you guys so you guys get an understanding about that, because I thought it was a good topic. I thought it was something very good to talk about. But I had to talk about death first and help you understand life so you can understand death is a continuous process. Right? Every time you elevate, it's only because you died in the other realm. Right? Death is a transformation process. It transforms. Right? So when you're going through a death thing, you're transforming. You're supposed to be transforming for the better, not for the worst. So death is a process that you're supposed to be transformed. That Pluto energy, right? It's supposed to transform you for the better. That's what it is, family. But we have a tendency in America to look at death as something negative. You guys need to read the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and all these other things, right? You need to understand what death really is, because death is not something that's bad. But if you're not prepared, it can be bad. So we're doing our spiritual work. We're trying to evolve. We're doing these things so we can be prepared for death. I tell you guys all the time, if you're doing magic, it ain't about spells. Spells is a tool you use to hack into the matrix and change this reality to your reality. But please don't do magic based on spells. Do some evolutionary magic. Do some magic that's going to evolve you and help you and your family grow. Okay? Especially yourself, because you can't really help your family, but help yourself. But hopefully you left a legacy behind your family wants to follow spiritually. Okay? Don't worry about telling them. Just live it in front of them. Live the spiritual life in front of them. Stop trying to tell your family about spirituality. They don't care. They don't want to listen. They're not ready for it. Just live it in front of them, and they'll respect it. Okay? They'll respect the family. So this is Brother Yosef. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll holler at you guys in the next video. Peace, family.